Bobby Kotick is accused of discriminating against old white guys. The Last of Us wins big at the Emmys, and the new League of Legends dragon that got the Sonic treatment. I'm Ash Dixon, and this is GINX News. First of all, yes, our old set is still broken. We're trying to fix it. Hopefully we'll be back there tomorrow. We might still be here. We'll just see. Anyway, into our first story. When Bobby Kotick departed as CEO of Activision Blizzard last year, we all rejoiced at the fact that one of gaming's biggest villains was finally gone. Sadly, he won't stay out of the headlines, as a lawsuit has been filed by a former exec who was laid off last year. And no, apparently it's not just women working at Activision who need to be worried. According to the suit, Kotick was allegedly speaking during a leadership conference where he said that there are too many old white guys at the company. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Clearly, he hasn't looked at the mirror lately. 2 execs departed from the company, citing Kotick's comments as ageist, and one of them recommended the guy suing for the job. He was apparently overlooked in favor of a younger man. And look, there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, there's no denying that in the gaming industry, the number of white men, especially in leadership roles, is disproportionately high. That's why whenever a new studio gets founded by a load of gaming vets, oh look, it's a bunch of white guys. And sure, they're probably all great at their jobs, but it just goes to show how the industry has failed to promote, develop, and welcome women and minorities since its inception. If that's what Kotick was trying to address, then it's a fair point, but in typical Kotick fashion, he's done so in the worst possible way. But it's also worth addressing that there's definitely an ageism problem in gaming too. It's easy to equate old man and white with success, but there's a lot of older people who aren't execs or heads of departments. They're devs, artists, all sorts. And we've heard lots of stories about them struggling to find employment. Also, I feel like some CEOs use the phrase old white men as a cover to air grievances against certain individuals. I remember when the owner of the Titan sub bragged about how they didn't hire old white guys. That was soon after a very experienced engineer was fired for voicing safety concerns. Guess which one of those two was vaporized at the bottom of the f***ing ocean? Either way, the lawsuit is filed against Activision, and Kotick is long gone, so even if they win, the gremlin of a man will still probably be living it up in one of his several yachts. Which must be nice, as you can tell from our channel numbers, we can't even afford one yacht here at GINX News. That's why we play games containing boats instead.
No, no, no! It's making noises behind me! Oh God, help!
Please consider subscribing and hitting that bell button so we can continue to do so. The Last of Us cleaned up at the Emmys last night. There were always doubts surrounding a TV adaptation. After all, games have traditionally not translated well. But The Last of Us had 2 key advantages. 1, the game itself already had a fantastic narrative, and 2, it was being made by HBO. Let's just not talk about the last season of Game of Thrones, shall we? But by God, did they smash it! The acting, the directing, the soundtrack, the prosthetics, just the whole thing was just, delectable. And it's no surprise then that it swept up 8 different awards, most notably Best Guest Actor, which was won by Nick Offerman, who played Bill, and rightly so, because that episode was beautiful and it broke me, and no spoilers, but just do yourself a favor and go watch it. It also won a ton of awards for editing, music, and visual effects, and it's just so refreshing to see because yes, we've proven now that you can make good game adaptations, and yes, we've proven that they can make a ton of money, but now we're proving that they can be up there with the best of them. We've said for years now that video games can have the most incredible, richest storytelling out there, and the rest of entertainment is finally waking up. Personally, I feel like The Last of Us and Arcane are leading the charge here, but what are your favorite adaptations and what would you like to see being made next? Let us know in the comments down below. The latest cute little dragon coming to League of Legends has had a makeover after complaints he looked far too much like a Disney character. Remember when the Sonic movie was first revealed and his face looked like this absolute monstrosity? Luckily, it was fixed after the community uproar, and well, history is now repeating itself over in League of Legends. Last week, the MOBA announced its latest champion, the rather adorable sounding Smolder. He's a little dragon boy, and going by the voice acting, things were looking hopeful.
And one day, the fiercest, bestest dragon of all will be me, Smolder! Roar!
And yeah, it gives mad Spyro vibes. But considering his ultimate ability is literally him calling in his mum for help, I was pretty excited. But not everyone was happy with Smolder, and that's because his face reveal was rather disappointing. The big eyes, the uncomfortably flat face, it all just goes into uncanny valley territory. In fact, other artists were quick to jump in with their interpretations, and they just go to show how you can have the cuteness while retaining that true dragon aesthetic. Well, in a surprising turn of events, Riot have actually listened, and over the weekend we got this little gif showing some changes that they've made to the model. And yes, the adjustments are very subtle, but they make a big difference, and considering his toolkit looks like a blast, he could be a fun new ad carry. Yeah, I know, I thought he was going to be a mage too. Still, it doesn't address what I think is hilarious about this whole thing, because this cute little dragon that they're adding is about to be exposed to some traumatic shit. Good luck sleeping, Smolder, after Fiddlesticks comes for you. Oh, and don't forget all the champions with Dragon Slayer skins, all keen to put Smolder's head on a spike. I'm curious what you think though. Was his face really that bad? Could they have done more? Share your thoughts down in the comments. And that's the show. Check out Friday's video in one of these corners, and we'll see you tomorrow.